everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create 3D designs out of chipboard. And this is a pretty simple process, but I think creating the custom designs is what makes it so much fun. So here I'm actually just taking these silhouette shapes, either creating them from scratch or taking images I found offline to create the basic cut shapes so that we can create patterns to be printed and then cut out onto chipboard. I have a ton of chipboard laying around from an old project, so I thought now was the right time to use them, and this is such a fun little thing to do. So I have done a cactus, and I'm going to be making a little elephant as well. So I'm custom making the legs. I'm using a pre-made body silhouette that I found online. Basically what you have to be doing here is you have to create these standalone shapes that you can then slide into one another to create the three-dimensional shape. So here you can see for my legs and for my body, I have these white lines going through because that's where we're going to be sliding them in. So you're going to be able to slide down, so you need the lines at the bottom of the elephant's body. And you need to slide the legs up from underneath the elephant so that the elephant's body can stand on both of the legs. So I have two sets of legs, two for the front, two for the back, and the lines that can go through so that they can slide into one another. I'm just kind of cleaning some things up here, getting rid of any of that excess, and I'm also going to be adding a set of ears that I'm making from scratch. I did not put a white line through the elephant's head for this one because I think I just kind of want them sitting on top. If I do need to add a white line in later, I can always cut a little bit later. After you have your designs all done, you can just go into Cricut Design Space, upload your images, hit Simple, remove the background by tapping on it, and save it as a cut image. And I'm going to do this for both my elephant design and my cactus design. I did not put the white lines through the cactus because I want to show you how easy it is to add them afterward. What I'm going to be doing here is just uploading and resizing everything so that it'll fit on the chipboard that I have. I have standard letter size chipboard, so I'm going to be resizing everything to fit inside an 8.5 by 11 inch rectangle. I'm also going to be recoloring them so that I can print them relatively all at once and just kind of get it all done instead of having to come in and resize again later. So I have one in a gray and one in a black so that they will automatically print on separate mats. And it's time to get over and start printing. Alright, I will be preparing my Cricut mat. Cricut mat, if you heard that. And I have this big stack of chipboard. For this design, I'm going to need probably 4 pieces, 2 for the cactus, or 3 pieces. Yeah. I need 2 for the cactus and 1 for the elephant because all the pieces are going to be on one little bit. Unfortunately for me, I do have a half white, half dark side of my chipboard, so it's not as big of a deal because I will be painting it. But, you know, if you are looking for chipboard, I might recommend to get it the same color or same style on both sides just to make it easy. It doesn't particularly matter which way we do this. I'm also quite certain I'm going to end up cutting a little bit of it with an X-Acto knife. I'm probably mostly only going to get a score out of this particular run because I do not have the deep cutting blade. I only have the fine point blade, and I do have a deep cutting blade on the way, but you know, the time to film came. So I'm just going to set this down on my standard grip mat. I would use a strong grip if you have like really heavy chipboard. Mine's not super heavy at all and it's sticking okay. It's not great. Again, just looking for the basic shape. I'm going to go put this into my Cricut machine and we are going to get these shapes all cut up. So let's do that. Alright, we're back from the cut and peeling off pretty good. I feel like there's a lot of little bits on here that are making this not stick. I might have to go grab my other standard grip, but as you can see from the back, it did not go all the way through. But that doesn't mean that we cannot get our regular X-Acto knife or even a box cutter and go around and deepen up these lines a little bit so we can pop it right out. This is also the method that you should use if you do not have a Cricut. All you'll have to do is draw out your design on a sheet of paper or cardstock or whatever the case may be and cut it out with an X-Acto knife or a box cutter. So let's just do that with a hyperlapse. Alrighty, everything is all mostly popped out and ready to go. Honestly, popping out the corners is the most satisfying part to me. It feels like it's perforated and you're just ripping that last little bit off. So now we have our 2 cactus pieces and all of the pieces for our teeny tiny little elephant. So what I'm going to do now is for the cacti, obviously I did not put in any slits, which I am going to need to do to string them through each other. So I'm going to have one with a slit going from the top and the other one with a slit going toward the bottom. And I think I'm going to go about halfway through and end around the top of what would be this pot here as my center point. So I'm going to do that real quick and be right back. All I've done here is add a slit. I didn't make it any wider or thinner. It will be easier to slide in if you have one that is wider, but all you have to do is slide one from the bottom, one from the top, and interconnect them so that it completely comes to the bottom here. Perfect. Now that it has a flat bottom, it should stand perfectly good on its own. And you have a nice 3-dimensional piece that you could set in the center of a table or anything. Now, it'll obviously be way easier to paint this when it's flat, so I'm actually going to take these apart and I'm going to paint them separately. But first I'm going to test out the elephant pieces to see how they work before adding any paint and then coming in to show you the final products. He actually turned out pretty darn good. Basically for him, I think I'm actually gonna trim up this little point at the back of his butt a little bit. I think it looks a little funny. I might wanna round it a little bit more like the front here. But he does stand completely okay. I can even readjust his little legs so that they line up a little bit better. But actually it turned out super easy, and cutting out all of these pieces, and this is for all 3 of these, only took me less than 15 minutes. So obviously the Cricut made it a lot easier to slice through. I really only had to go through once, maybe a second time on each of the lines, and it turned out really good. So yeah, this has been fun so far. Let's hope I don't ruin it with color. I have a tendency to do that. So I am going to paint this a nice gray and then give him a little eyeball, cute little eyeball. And for this guy, I'm gonna do maybe like a terracotta pot, a green top for the cactus, and maybe like a little pink flower for this little flower bit on top. And I'm gonna hyperlapse through that and come back when everything's all done. Alrighty, it's time for the final reveal. Make sure when you're painting that you separate your cracks enough so that they don't get painted or stuck together. That's super important. Got mine nice and good. I obviously got them completely done. This is another reason that I really wanted to have 2 sides that are the same, because when you paint them, obviously the white side is going to be a little bit brighter and the unfinished side is going to be a little bit darker. So it's a little bit different, but I don't think it's too noticeable. A second coat probably would have fixed this, but alas, I didn't do that. So we're just gonna roll anyway. Now I'm gonna pop this in. One from the top, one from the bottom. There we go. I'll just even them out, center them up a touch, the bottom and the top, and you can see that it is fully standing. And when you look at it from any angle, it looks not perfectly, but at least remotely 3-dimensional. And this turned out great. Now for the elephant. And ta-da! I should have done the edges here. That's the part that looks kind of jank. And here we have the finished products. Our finished elephant, which I totally forgot to cut the back part off of, but I could always do that later. And a finished cactus that looked good from all angles. I think they turned out pretty freaking cute, and hopefully you got inspired and enjoyed watching this video. If you did like what you saw, I put out new videos every Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I would love for you to be here for the next one. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I can see you then. Bye!